Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is a sincere message to Sheikh Uthman. I just have some thoughts on his message to Christians, because I'm a former Christian. I'm in a Christian country. I'm in the Christmas time. My family is celebrating Christmas right over there. I'm not. I'm a Muslim. Alhamdulillah.
This is a message for everybody, but especially for Christians. Look, right now we have a season called the Christmas season, and there's a lot of festivities that are going to be going on in your churches. Your own priests and your own ministers are going to be celebrating Christmas. But ask yourself, if you're true to your religion, if you truly believe in God, in Jesus, in the Bible, if you really believe it, ask yourself, where did the 25th of December come from? Saturnalia, the pagan Roman festivals. You today are being duped. You've been tricked. You've been fooled. You've been conned into celebrating pagan festivals under the name of Christianity. Where's Santa Claus in the Bible? Where reindeer in the Bible? Where's eggnog? Where's any of this?
I just want to share with you why I think those kind of things where you mentioned the discrepancies in the Bible or the origin of Christmas as Saturnalia and pagan holidays, it doesn't really face Christians. They don't care. And they don't care for several reasons, because most of them already know this. So when I speak to my family members, they actually know these things, and they still don't mind. And the problem is, my grandfather even say, I don't believe in any afterlife, but I still go to church. So this is the level of Christians you have. And I'm in Central Europe, and this is pretty conservative here. And Christians over here, they are kind of just cultural at this point. And the arguments you're presenting could be useful for the people who are real hardcore Christians who follow the Bible, but that may be like less than 5%. Those are the same guys who come to debate, that's the less than 5%. Most other Christians, they don't care. We have to realize that the only ones who are kind of having issues with Christmas are Muslims, because we see the shirk, we see this associating partners with Allah by having a son, or saying that the God was born, and I couldn't wrap my head around why shirk is an issue in Islam. What's so wrong with attributing something to God? I didn't have any knowledge of the Quran, so I didn't understand. We have to realize when we speak to these people that you have to convey the message of Tawheed. Like, why is Allah unique in His attributes? Why is Allah one? And why He deserves our worship? It's really amazing, to be honest, is that yesterday I had a, Christmas time, some family meets up. Everybody's talking about Islam nowadays. And so they asked me, like, for 2 hours, it was like talk show. Sitting there answering questions from all my family members around in the circle. Why do women cover? Why this? Why that? By the end of that, I just said, okay, here it is. I'm just gonna lay it out for you. And I explained the journey in the barzakh, in the grave, what happens on the day of judgment, how Jesus is gonna come, the end of times, what happens in heaven or hell. And they were like, there was silence. Sorry for the mess. I'm in the room of my wife's brother, and it's a bit of a mess. But what I wanted to say about the experience I had with my family and sharing the message of Islam, takbir, the most powerful moment, it was like really one of the most powerful moments in my life, and even in my Christian life, was defending Islam. And she was explaining how what's in the Quran, what's not in the Quran. They thought that Muslims push gay people out of buildings, and that's what the Quran says, or that you're disbelieving dogs, everyone, and we should just kill them. All these misconceptions, I cleared them for them, and it was really cool, because my uncle actually is looking into Islam, and he already knows about the Jesus, the Mary, and he knows how we look at the whole situation. And so he just needs to clear those misconceptions. That's why my dawah here on YouTube is mostly about clearing misconceptions for the non-Muslims, because they don't hate you. They don't hate you as a Muslim or Islam, because they don't even understand it. There are people who are genuine Islam haters, those who kind of like hate Islam, and they really know what it's about. But that's a very small minority of people. Most people are just afraid of it because they have a large media campaign against Islam. So they have an image in their head, and I'm just trying to take that image and throw it out so I can replace it with a new one. And that's our job as du'ats in our families. I still haven't made a change. Like, for example, in my wife's father, he's still not there, even though I took them to Istanbul and they saw everything, and he still has a lot of Islamophobic comments, a lot. But it's a long journey. It will take 20, 30 years maybe to guide them. And I can't guide anyone, it's a lot of guides, but I can clear those misconceptions so that the path to the Sirat al-Mustaqim, to the straight path, is kind of easier, and you can either decide, okay, now I accept, or I refuse and I become kuffar. That's all you gotta do. So just clear those misconceptions. And it was really powerful because when I shared Day of Judgment, Jesus coming, killing Dajjal, I could tell that they haven't heard this perspective ever. They have never heard this perspective on end of times, on Day of Judgment or nothing, because in Christianity we say those things, but no one really means them, and no one really understands what you mean by resurrection and all. It's kind of like nice terms. We do metaphorical. You kind of metaphorically try to imagine, oh, resurrection, that must be saying like in this world we can become better version of ourselves when we, Jordan Peterson type of stuff. No, we mean literal resurrection. You're gonna be in the grave in your barzakh, then the angels will come and they will ask you, who's your Lord, who's your Deen, who's this person? And if you don't answer, then there's gonna be your stay in the grave, and then it comes, the resurrection, and you're going to be naked standing in front of the Lord of Arsh and Kursi, and you're going to be held accountable for everything you did. That's what I said to them. And all of our relationships will disappear. You will lose your hair. You will not care about your children, and all your actions will be displayed, and you will have to speak in front of Allah. However, your limbs will be sealed. Your hands will speak for you. You can't lie. And they were real like, because for them, God is love. I can do whatever I want. But finally, putting some fear of God, some healthy fear of God, not of God or of your own actions towards your own self. You see that? And that's so powerful. So I could just see like they haven't heard this. A lot of them said like, okay, you saw some seed in my head now. I'm gonna do some research and come back to you with some questions. I'm like, don't worry, we can do a talk show next Easter, let's say, in your guys' thing. You do Easter, I come in and I do some dawah for you. Okay, deal. Even my cousin said like Islam makes more sense. He likes it. My uncles, everybody. There are some people who don't like it, obviously, but it's getting more and more clear because over the years I was able to share with them bits and pieces, and now I shared kind of the main message. And I still left out a lot of things, but if you're a Muslim revert doing dawah to your family, just be patient. It took me 2 years. And it still takes me, it's going to take me another 2, it's going to take me maybe another 6 to even have someone from my family accept Islam. Maybe never, maybe no one will accept. But it's going to take like 10 years of proper dawah. Because, you have to lose. Not everybody's ready like me to lose my tradition. Because I was at the brink of suicide. So I was ready to go out of this world. So I didn't care about my faith or nothing. I was just like, I need to find the truth. And whatever it is, I'm going to accept it. Even if it's like something completely different. And it is. Islam is very different to my culture. But I had no choice. I view it as like, okay, this is my only chance now. And not many people are in that place. Many people are kind of satisfied with their lives. And they don't think about death, and they don't think about, okay, one day I'm going to be nothing. They don't want to do that. So it's good to kind of give them those ideas, because I didn't like to think that. A sheikh told me like, hey, you're gonna be in the grave, boy. Who do you think you are? You are a nutfa. And then Allah took that nutfa and made it, and stuff like that. So inshallah, we can guide all those family members in the next room. And so what I've realized is really just forget debating Christianity, just convey the message of Islam. It's much more powerful. People resonated with it, and they really were dumb smug. And I think a lot of them will actually consider Islam. I haven't had this opportunity for 2 years since I'm Muslim to convey this message properly, because we never got that deep. We were always on the surface debating hijabs and all that. But now we were, okay, here's the eschatology. Here's what's going to happen on the Day of Judgment. Here's heaven or hell. Here's how Allah forgives. And it was amazing. People were like, how do you start that conversation, right? Usually you come across a topic which is like a minuscule topic within Islam, such as hijab, such as jihad, and all these nice terms. But how do you actually convey who is Allah and what's the day of judgment look like, what's the purpose of life and all that. Quite difficult. Debating with Christians is quite useless. They are too emotionally invested. If they are really, really Christian, they will be too emotionally invested in their worldview, and they will not hear logic, or they will not try to hear what you have to say, but they would rather try to justify what they believe in. And that's typical even for Muslims. Like, if you hear criticism, you're like, oh, I don't want to hear it, and you kind of justify your position. However, of course, it's important to come to your position as being a Muslim without no shubuhats, so you don't have any doubts. And that takes years of development and being exposed to different worldviews, because nowadays you can't not be exposed. You don't live in a box. We live in a global village. You're going to hear about other ideologies, and you're going to have to be sure that Islam is the straight path. Islam is the right for you and your family. And so when speaking to Christians, I think 99% of them don't really practice their deen, their religion, and they don't really believe in the core doctrines. So the Trinity and all these things don't really matter, because as you spoke maybe to Bobby's perspective, and I did an interview with him, our parents, they don't really know about this stuff. They just do it because it's cultural. Let me focus on the issues within society. Do you enjoy the current state of the world? Do you like how it's going? Most of them will say no, because I think during the latest survey in Slovakia, 42% of people said we do not live in the democracy and we don't want this system to continue. A lot of people in European countries do not like the system we live in today. And so you can just start pointing out the problems with the liberal worldview. And there's only one solution. There's only one, because all the other religions, they have liberalized and they have basically became the same. Like the liberal Christian is the same as a liberal atheist. They don't have different values. So the only system that's capable of kind of replacing the current system is Islam. I'm not saying we should replace the system, but I'm just saying it's a different view of looking at the world, which makes people more, let's say, happy with the way of life they want to live, because it protects families, it protects the basic morality and the values and stuff like that. So I think that's more important, to just point out the challenges in the society or the issues with the people's personal lives and relate the message of Islam. Forget debating them, just convey the message of Islam, because it's the truth. So, assalamu alaikum, and see you in the next video, inshallah.